now we're gonna talk about things that are gonna start to happen as I clear his head. The first thing that's gonna happen is he's gonna feel that pressure come and start pushing this side of his head, and he's gonna bail and try to run away. So when that happens, we're gonna come out and we're gonna turn this into a position we call the Gogo-Palata. Most of the time when he bails to the Gogo-Palata, it's because he's trying to set up a rollout to try to create a scramble and get away. He's not gonna usually give up the Gogo-Palata. So unless you're really fast and you really have tight controls, it's hard to catch the Gogo-Palata when they run. If you set it up, you push them away and come out and hit the Gogo-Palata, you can usually catch it. But if they're running, then they're ahead of you. It's hard to catch them as they're running away. So we're gonna let them run and roll, and we're just gonna end up in top. So it's gonna look like this. So we start the same way. Get to here, open the chest, get here, kung fu move. Right now when he feels this pressure, he's like, nope, I'm bailing. So as he goes, I'm sitting up grabbing this, and I start leaning into him, right? I have his far hip and his knees. My right hand goes to this top one, I push it across, and I put my weight on his face, right? My left elbow's under his shoulder, my left hip is right on top of his shoulder. I'm blocking his knees. If he starts trying to like invert and do all of this, then I go to both knees. All right, so we're just trying to get to that spot. He decided to bail, cool. We'll take the sweep and end up on top. Already past the guard, right? Again, we're here. Fall, open the chest, get to here. Kung fu move, he starts to make that runaway. I catch the wrist, catch the hip. As he rolls, we're catching here, I'm leaning into him, right? My outside hand goes to his knee, I push it across, push his face, we settle into twister side, right? Can we handle that? Let's try it, 3, 2, 1. The most common thing that's gonna happen if they understand what's happening to them. The reality is most of the time, especially in tournaments, if we're going against people who are non-10th planet, they have no idea what is happening to them. So the next most common thing is they just freeze and they don't do anything, which is cool too, because then we can go right into some chokes. So if they just sit there and they don't really do anything at all, we can go right to our Gogo-Palata and the Gogo-Clinch. And we'll talk about those two and play with those. And if we have some time, we'll talk about the Gogo-Launch. So it's all going to start the same way, right? So I'm going to come out and hang, get here, open the chest, get to here, kung fu move, we're underneath. This time he's like, I don't know what's happening, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go. If you notice, as soon as I kung fu move and clear, I look for this far tricep. Because if I catch this also stops his ability to run away for that Gogo-Palata, right? So if I catch him here, now I don't have to worry about that anymore. He can't turn. Right, he's stuck, right? I could just drop this to the mat. We could hit, Karney right here, right? So that's an option one. If I catch the tricep, flip to the mat, I grab his wrist, push it to my hip, lift it up, right? That's the first option. Next option is I reach around his head and I grab my big toe, and I'm grabbing that knuckle, right? I'm grabbing that here. For the finish, I point my toes, I drop my elbow. Right? And there's the finish for the Gogo-Palata, right? If you have a hard time reaching to get your big toe, if that's just not your thing, then I'm gonna come under and I'm gonna connect my hands together underneath my leg, right? And this is the Gogo-Clinch. And now I drop my elbow and I extend my leg, right? So you have all three of those options. So we're here. Open the chest, get here, kung fu move, grab that tricep. I get the tricep, flip to the mat, we got the Karney, right? I can come up, grab that big knuckle, I drop my elbow inside my leg and point my toe, right? There's the choke. If I can't get to that, then I'm coming underneath here, right? Now I'm dropping the elbow, extending. On this Gogo-Clinch, every time you do this, if your foot is like this, his left hand is gonna try to push your foot down. If that happens, I bring my right leg out, I go right over the top, trap it in, and I finish anyway. Right? Because they're going to, because they feel the pressure and they're like, relieve the pressure. Right? Like it's just, that's the only thing they have left. You know, so good. So, need to see it again?
No.
We're good? All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. I was gonna grab that. So we were playing with the foot on the inside. So we call this position, when we play rubber guard, we call this New Jersey. Right? With the foot on the outside, this is New York. Right? So New York, I'm not as much on my side. Right? You know, I'm a little bit more to my back. I can get a little bit to my side, but I can't get as far to my side as I can with Jersey. You know, and because of that, it requires a little bit more flexibility to play from New York, right? So if you're not real flexible, New York's not going to be your game for rubber guard at all. If you have the flexibility, you can play either one, right? Like it's not going to matter. But, you know, especially if you were having trouble with New Jersey clearing and doing all of this, you're not going to be able to play New York, right? You know, so but if you get more flexible, you can play either one. You know, the benefit to New York with my foot on the outside is it makes it harder for him to pass my guard while I'm doing all of these attacks. With my foot on the inside, and this is where we were talking about, I have to initially staple and then I'm connecting to the back of his knee because I have to track that leg. He's gonna try to pass my guard. If he passes my guard before I clear his head, I lose all of my rubber guard. I have to go to something else. Rubber guard is dead if he passes my guard before I clear his head. If I clear his head, it doesn't matter if he passes my guard. I still can push him away, come out, sit up, Gogo-Palata, do all of that, right? So, you know, so it's super important if you're gonna play Jersey that you know what's going on with that bottom leg and you're staying connected and you're tracking his leg. You know, so it's a little harder position to play because you have to be more aware. Whereas New York, all I gotta do is just hug him with that leg. Yeah, that's all I gotta do and it's fine. You know, but with Jersey, I gotta keep track of what's going on with his leg the whole time. Right? So the thing when you play it is you don't want to be completely flat. And if I'm playing this leg, I definitely don't want him to get me on this hip. Right? Now it's gonna be super hard for me to do anything because I don't have the flexibility from this side at all. You know, so I really gotta try to stay on the opposite hip or of the side that I'm playing rubber guard. You know, so you know, I need at least a little bit. If I could get all the way, it's even better. You know, but I need to stay there. And then the last thing that I always talk about with rubber guard is whenever you're playing, and especially as you're learning to do kung fu moves and these things, you want to pay attention to your knee and your ankle. You know, if your ankle comes closer to your face than your knee, you're putting a lot of stress on your knee, and you can actually hurt yourself. I've seen it happen even to one of our top guys who's a really good rubber guard player. In a tournament recently, he popped his own knee trying to clear the guy's head. So, you know, so it's one of those things that you have to be aware that your knee stays closer to you than your ankle. As long as that's the case, there's no stress on the outside of your knee. The moment your foot comes closer to your face than your knee, now there's all this pressure on the outside and you can pop that outside ligament, the LCL. You can dislocate the fibular head, the bone out here, like you can mess yourself up. You know, so this is where you'll hear people talk about rubber guard's bad for your knees. It is if you don't know what you're doing, right? You know, if you know how to play the game and you keep your knee closer to you than your ankle, you'll be fine. You know, there's nothing to worry about. You know, and this is why, like, I got that overhook. As soon as I clear the head, I hug the knee. All right, and now that keeps my knee closer to my head than my ankle. Now I'm safe. So while I'm looking for all these other things and I'm setting all this stuff up, I have this hugged so that my knee stays closer to my head. Right? Cool.